Hello students. Today we are going to discuss the 7th chapter of class 10th history, the Quit India movement. In the previous two videos we were discussing about two important political movements started under the leadership of Mahatma Gandhi. They were the non-cooperation movement and civil disobedience movement. Now we are going to study about the third movement started under the leadership of Mahatma Gandhi, that is Quit India movement. If we are analyzing the effect and causes of these three movements, we can see differences. The first movement, the non-cooperation movement, was a movement intended to make the British administration in a standstill by not cooperating with the administration. The civil disobedience movement was intended to paralyze the British administration by violating some civil laws. The third movement, the Quit India movement, was a movement demanding the British to leave the country. You know the meaning of the word quit. It means leave. So by launching the Quit India movement, the Indians demanded the British to leave the country. In this chapter, we have to study some topics. As per the new revised syllabus, we have to study the definition of Quit India movement. What is Quit India movement? What are the causes of Quit India movement? The Quit India resolution and the impacts of Quit India movement. Now we have to study what is Quit India movement. The Quit India movement was a movement launched by the Indian National Congress in 1942, calling upon the British to hand over power to the Indians and quit the country. This is the answer for the question, what is meant by Quit India movement? The definition, the answer is in a single sentence. Quit India movement was a movement launched by the Indian National Congress in 1942, calling upon the British to hand over power to the Indians and quit the country. For launching the Quit India movement, there were two important causes. The causes of Quit India movement are failure of Cripps mission and Japanese threat. We have to study in detail about these two causes. The first cause is failure of Cripps mission. To know about failure of Cripps mission in detail, we must know what is Cripps mission. The Quit India movement was started in 1942. By that time, the Second World War was going on. The Second World War started in the year 1939 and it came to an end in the year of 1945. Like the First World War, the Second World War also fought between two groups of countries, namely Axis powers and Allied powers. The important members of the Axis powers were Germany, Italy, and Japan. Their opponents were the important members of the Allied powers were Britain, France, and USA and their allies. So the Second World War was going on at that time in India. the Quit India movement. One of the major reasons prompted the launching of Quit India movement was the Cripps mission. Cripps mission means a commission came to India from Britain for solving the political deadlock in India. In order to break the political deadlock in India, the British Prime Minister Winston Churchill sent Sir Stafford Cripps to India. Sir Stafford Cripps was a minister of the British Parliament. His duty was to make some constitutional reforms in India after consulting with the representatives of various political parties and thereby solve the political deadlock in India. He came to India, met the representatives of the Indian leaders. Indian leaders means the leaders of Indian National Congress, the leaders of Muslim League and the leaders of Hindu Mahasabha. After consulting with the political parties, Sir Stafford Cripps proposed the following constitutional reforms for Indians. Following are the constitutional reforms proposed by Sir Stafford Cripps. The first one is India would be given dominion status when the war would end. So the proposals of Cripps mission were promises only. The first promise, India will be given dominion status. You are remembering when the civil disobedience movement started. At that time itself, Indians were demanding for complete independence, so they may not be happy with the dominion status. The second promise given by Sir Stafford Cripps was a constitutional assembly would be set up. This constitutional assembly was consisting of the Indian representatives. One of the main duty of the constitutional assembly is to frame a constitution for India. Third promise, there would be a federation of British India and Indian states. Once the Second World War came to an end, some reforms will be made in India. India will be made as a federation. You know what is federation? A federation is a group of states. India will be a federation consisting of British India and Indian states. The fourth promise, the provinces would be free to join the Indian Union. If the provinces are not ready to join the Indian Union, they can remain as independent states. These were four important proposals made by Sir Stafford Cripps. Then these promises were not acceptable for the Indian leaders. That is why Cripps mission failed. So next topic is failure of Cripps mission. In the examination, if a question is coming related to the causes of the launching of Quit India movement, as the first cause, you have to write failure of Cripps mission and you have to explain why Cripps mission was failed. The proposals of Cripps mission was rejected by all the parties on the following grounds. The proposals of Sir Stafford Cripps was not acceptable for the political parties. That is why they rejected the proposal. The first reason for rejecting the Cripps proposal, the Cripps mission did not give the promise of independence in near future. The Indians were expecting independence, but the Cripps proposal was not giving any promise of independence. It was giving only dominion status for the Indians. So the first reason for rejecting the Cripps proposal was this point. Cripps mission did not give the promise of independence in near future. The second one, the plan involved partitioning the country. It means the provinces were given the freedom to join Indian Union, or it can remain as an independent state. That was somewhat like that of dividing the country into a number of independent provinces. So that was disliked by all the leaders, so they rejected the proposal. The second point, the plan involved partitioning the country. That is why the leaders rejected the proposal. The third one, the Muslim League opposed the creation of a single union because the proposal was not in favor of the creation of Pakistan. In 1940, the Muslim League demanded the creation of a separate state for the Muslims, that was Pakistan. Their dream was to create a particular state for Muslims consisting of Punjab, Afghanistan, Kashmir, Sindh and Balochistan. So the Cripps proposal was not giving any assurance for making a state for Muslims called Pakistan. That was, as it was not there, the Muslim League opposed the Cripps proposal. Fourth one, the Hindu Mahasabha rejected the proposal because it feared the partition of the country. Like Congress leaders, Hindu Mahasabha also rejected the proposal because they disliked the country divided into various states. The last one, the minority communities like the Sikhs, the Anglo-Indians, Indian Christians, scheduled caste and scheduled tribes opposed the proposal because their interests were not protected or respected. As their interests were not given any assurance, any respect, the minority communities opposed the Cripps proposals. So these were some of the reasons for rejecting the Cripps proposal. So that is why the Cripps mission was failed. The second reason for launching the Quit India movement was Japanese threat. Japanese threat means the Japanese army was marching towards India. Japan and Britain were there in opposite camps. So Japanese army targeted India because India was an important colony and a major source of income for Britain. By 1942, the Japanese army attacked Burma and marching towards Assam. From 1940 onwards, the Japanese army started conquering the Southeast Asian countries and they reached the borders of India. Gandhiji and other Congress leaders realized that the presence of British in India is the reason for Japanese invasion. There was no ill will between the Japanese and the Indians. The Congress leaders and Mahatma Gandhi realized that the reason for attacking India by Japan was the presence of British in India. And they understood that if the British leaving India, India will be free from the attack of Japanese. So, to save India from the Japanese attack, the Congress decided to launch a movement calling upon the British to leave India. That movement was called Quit India movement. So, it was a movement started by Congress demanding the British to leave the country for saving India from the attack of Japanese army. So these are the two major causes for launching the Quit India movement. Next topic is Quit India resolution. The Congress Working Committee met at Wardha in July 1942. This meeting adopted a historic resolution. That resolution regarding the launching of Quit India movement. The resolution passed in July 1942 by the Congress Working Committee is known as Quit India Resolution that stated British rule in India must end immediately. This resolution, the resolution adopted in Wardha meeting, was passed by the All India Congress Committee met at Bombay on August 8, 1942. It passed the Quit India resolution and proposed to start a non-violent mass struggle under Gandhiji's leadership. So, the meeting of All India Congress Committee at Bombay entrusted Mahatma Gandhi to start a non-violent movement demanding the British to leave the country. So, they decided to launch the movement on 9th August, the very next day. But the British administration struck earlier. In the early morning of 9th August, all important Congress leaders were arrested and taken to unknown destination. The British authorities thought that in the absence of the Congress leaders, the people will not start the movement. But their expectations were wrong. All over the country, there were strikes and demonstrations which were lathi charged and fired upon. Once the strikes and demonstrations started by the people in the absence of Congress leaders, the government struck hard. The demonstrations were lathi charged and fired upon. Many people were arrested, many were imprisoned, and around 10,000 people lost their life during this movement. The freedom of the press was curtailed. The important leaders were arrested and imprisoned. But another group of leaders, they were lesser known leaders. They took the leadership of the Quit India movement. The important leaders of the Quit India movement were Achyutarao Padwardhan, Jayaprakash Narayan, Ram Manohar Lohia, Aruna Asaf Ali, etc. So this movement, even though it was crushed by the British authorities, it made some impacts. So the last topic of this chapter is the impact, the result of Quit India movement. Following are the important points coming under the impact of Quit India movement. The first point is, it demonstrated the depth of the nationalist feelings and the capacity for struggle and sacrifice. The Quit India movement, even though it was suppressed, that revealed the depth of the nationalist feeling and the willpower of the people to suffer and sacrifice anything for attaining freedom. So once again, the first point, it demonstrated the depth and of the nationalist feeling and the capacity for struggle and sacrifice. Second one, it was a mass uprising before attaining the independence. All the movements organized by Mahatma Gandhi in the Gandhian era were mass movements. So like the non-cooperation movement and civil disobedience movement, the Quit India movement was also a mass uprising. It was the last mass uprising before attaining independence in 1947. Third one, the Quit India movement revealed that the British would no longer find it possible to rule India against the wishes of the people. Even though the Quit India movement was suppressed, it revealed the fact that the days of the British government in India is numbered. The British realized that it is not possible to rule India against the wishes of the Indians. The fourth point, already studied that the Quit India movement was a mass movement. People from all shades of life means Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, Christians, scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, all types of people took part in the movement. Even the people from the princely states actively participated in the Quit India movement. The last impact is the Quit India movement strengthened the Congress Socialist Party because of its heroic role in the movement. From 1934 onwards, a socialist wing in Congress became powerful. The important leaders of the Congress Socialist Party were Achyutarao Patwardhan, Jayaprakash Narayan, Ram Manohar Lohia, etc. When the top leaders were arrested and taken to unknown destination, the Quit India movement was led by the leaders of Congress Socialist Party. Because of the effective leadership provided by the Congress Socialist Party, it became a very powerful, a strong faction in Congress. So this is the end of the 7th chapter, Quit India movement. So the topics covered so far is the what is meant by Quit India movement, what are the causes of Quit India movement, what is Quit India resolution, what are the impacts of the Quit India movement. These 4 topics are the topics mentioned in the new revised syllabus. In the textbook, some other topics are there that you can leave because this year that topics were not included in the syllabus. Thank you.